Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Montefusco and I'm a lover of all things when it comes to makeup, and today we are talking about one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing, which is eyeshadow. So we're going to be talking about my top 10 eyeshadow palettes for spring and summer. I felt like I should put spring and summer in the same category just because I find myself wearing similar tones, similar colors, similar palettes during these seasons, so I wanted to just lump them together. So for spring and summer, you know what eyeshadow palettes I tend to reach for. So I purposefully tried to pick palettes today that were not limited edition and that are still available. So some of these might be technically considered limited edition, but last I checked they were still in stock. So I try to pick things that you all could get your hands on if you don't have them and you're inspired by this video. So with that, let's get into these eyeshadow palettes. Please keep in mind, these are in no particular order. These are just 10 eyeshadow palettes I think are great for spring and summer. So first up, we're gonna talk about my Midas Cosmetics Lemonade palette. So the packaging on this has changed. I bought this, I believe, last spring, if I'm not mistaken. I don't exactly remember, but this is the old packaging. It's a beautiful palette. I love it. It's just full of yellows. Like the name implies, lemonade, bam, look at all of these yellows. So we have every shade of yellow you could ever want. You want a bright lemony matte, you got it. You want a more like mustardy yellow matte, you got it. You want some shimmers, you've got it. So this palette is really great if you're a yellow lover like me. Personally, I use this palette mostly not to create a full look, although I have done that a few times, and it is really pretty. Just if you want an all yellow eye with all different shades of yellow, this can give you that. But I normally use this palette as like a pop of yellow. So if I'm doing a look with another palette that I'm gonna mention, spoiler, the Colourpop Limoncello palette, and I want more of a yellow pop because that one only has one yellow and this one has, you know, like a lot of yellows, then I can reach into this palette, put some more yellow in there. So that's what I normally use this palette for. I think yellow is the perfect pop for spring and summer. Just makes me happy. It just makes the world better. I don't know, I love yellow. So it's one of my favorite colors. I love this palette, great palette. This is probably my favorite palette of 2020, maybe one of my favorite palettes of all time. You might know what it is. It's the Adept Cosmetics Plain Jane. So this is the perfect companion palette if you are a lover of super wet, foiled, shimmery, metallic goodness. This has just beautiful, 12 absolutely beautiful metallic shades. This is a stunning palette. I cannot wax poetic about this enough. This is perfect for every season. The reason why I have it in my favorites for spring and summer is because this is a favorite period, no matter what the season. So of course it's going to go into my spring and summer favorites. So I haven't you know, been through a whole spring and summer season with this yet because it came out later in 2020, but I have used this during the spring. It is nice and warm here in Tennessee and it works great for the spring. I feel like a lot of these lighter shades, that blue shade, some of these purples, some of the pinks, just really great for the spring and summer. I love this palette. I cannot talk good enough about this palette. I have videos on this palette. Check them out if you want to hear more. Next up is another palette from an indie brand. I really like my indie brands, as you'll notice here with this eyeshadow palette video. So this is from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. This is the Vivid Rose palette. So this came out also, I believe, later in 2020. And here it is. So you may look at this and you may think, what about this makes the spring / summer to you? And I'll tell you. So I did use this palette a lot in the winter because I feel like a lot of these darker purples and pinks go nicely in the winter. But I do think this could be a really good spring palette because of the name, Vivid Rose. This palette reminds me of flowers. So you have bright pops of pink in here, which are really spring, summer appropriate. You have some brighter purples in here, which are really spring, summer appropriate, excuse me. And I just feel like the packaging inspires me to create looks that are very floral inspired, you know, just very pink, purple, beautiful. So for that reason, I feel like this palette does work for spring and summer. It's a favorite palette of mine just in general. But you know, it's just a very versatile palette. You can really go bright pops of pink in here. You can go a little bit darker and more sultry with those darker purples if you want to. So I think the floral theme, I think the bright pinks, that's what makes this a good spring summer palette. And another indie brand, so this is the Odins Eye Salmon palette. I am putting this in my spring summer list for one main reason. So here's the palette. Can you guess why it's in my list? If you guessed because of that purple shade, you would be correct. This purple is the most beautiful mid-toned, cool-toned, bright purple I have ever seen in my entire life. And so for that reason, I feel like this shade is just beautiful in the spring and the summertime. I need to pull this out more and use that purple more because dang, it is gorgeous. So that's the main reason why I look at this palette, I think spring, summer. I don't think I'd really use that shade much in the fall and the winter. But you have a lot of warm toned mattes in here, neutral mattes. That to me screams very spring, summer, warm toned neutrals. Also, some of these shimmers are also more warm toned and neutrally. So for that reason, I feel like this is a really good spring and summer palette, but that purple, dang, I love that purple. All right, let's talk about a non-indie brand for a minute. And this is a newer palette to my collection that I was debating on getting for a while. It's not new to the marketplace, it's just new to me. And this is the Natasha Nona Bronze palette. I'm sure you all either own this palette, have seen plenty of videos on this palette, or know somebody that owns this palette, because this palette is everywhere, but it is stunning. So when I said bronzy neutrals, warm tone neutrals to me remind me of spring and summer, this is what I mean. So this is just the ultimate warm toned, neutral, bronzy spring summer palette. I don't think I would use this that much in the fall and winter because these orangey, reddy leaning neutrals aren't really what I go for. But in the summertime, when I have a little bit of a tan, at least tan for, you know, me being extremely pale, when I'm, you know, having my like glow oil on my décolletage and just like feeling myself, and I want to look sultry and bronzy and sculpted and like a supermodel, this is the palette I'm going to go for. We have really good variety in tones. We have some mid-toned mattes, some darker mattes. We have even a cool tones like, I think that's like a cream to powder, but it's really nice. We have a black in here and we have so many beautiful metallics. I love this palette. I've been testing this out for a few weeks now. It's stunning. I got this on during the Beautylish sale, the gift card event, and this is a great palette. This is my first mid-size Natasha Nona palette. I own the mini Glam. To me, that's like a fall and winter kind of situation. But this is stunning. I love it. I'm very happy with this. I mentioned this palette earlier. This is the Colourpop Limoncello. So the name, the packaging, this just gives you like summer in Italy kind of vibes, you know? I spent 2 weeks during the summer in Italy almost 2 years ago, so I guess I would know what summer in Italy vibes are like. But this is a stunning, stunning palette. So I know the packaging implies that there will be like more blue and more yellow, and we only have like 2 true yellows, 1 metallic, 1 matte, and like 1 true blue in here. But I love the pop of green, and then just again, these warm tone neutrals are just so summery. And I have a video on this palette where I did a really fun look incorporating the blue and the yellow and some of the neutrals, and it turned the green, and it turned out really well. And I feel like you can make this palette fun, colorful. You can pull in a few other palettes like that Lemonade palette, for example, make it a bit more poppy on the yellow, but you can also go really neutral, warm toned, bronzy, sultry, that kind of situation. So I love this palette. I feel like it's perfect for spring and summer. This packaging just inspires me. It makes me want to go back to Italy so bad. So I love this palette, perfect for the spring and summer. Another Colourpop palette that's also newer to my collection. I got this at the same time that I got the Limoncello palette. This is the Colourpop Sweet Talk palette. So this is an older palette. I'm just really late to the game. What else is new? But I realized I didn't really have any like peachy palettes in my collection. So this really filled a hole for me. And so as you can see, very peachy. I feel like these peachy tones just scream spring to me. Like, you know, I don't know if you all have like dogwoods or like cherry blossom trees where you all live, but this just gives me those vibes, like dogwood tree vibes, cherry blossom tree vibes. It's just beautiful, and these shades really remind me of spring. If you're not a fan of pressed glitters, there are 2 pressed glitters in here. I don't use pressed glitters very often, but I'm not like, oh, I can never use them on my eyes. I'm not that kind of person, but if you are, I understand they're not eye safe. You do you, you do you. But yeah, there's 2 pressed glitters in here. Meh, not really a fan of that. There's a Super Shock in here, and the rest are either mattes or just like classic metallic. So this is the good Colourpop formula, and I enjoy it, and it's very spring to me. Let's move on to one of my favorite brands ever, period, Pat McGrath. So I have 2 Pat McGrath palettes to show you. This is the Pat McGrath Blitz Actual Quad in Nocturnal Nirvana. So I'm gonna open this up for you all. And this actually came out during the holiday collection, not in 2020, but in 2019, I believe. So this is what the quad looks like. It's just a quad full of the special shade formula from Pat McGrath. We have a gold, we have an aqua, we have like a bright green to like purple, and then we have a deep dark purple. So this palette to me reminds me of spring because of that aqua, because of that gold, and because of that green. The purple, not so much. It's a bit deep for spring and summer in my opinion, but if you're the kind of person that likes to go deep, dark, and colorful for spring and summer, like you do you, like that's fun, that's cool. But to me, that aqua blue is just so spring and summer. You all know I've been ranting and raving about my warm tone neutrals for spring and summer, so that golden there, perfect. And that bright green, again, I just love bright colors for spring and summer. So that's perfect. This is a great palette. You cannot go wrong with Mother Pat's special shades. They're just beautiful and stunning. I am obsessed with them, and yeah, I love this little quad. For my more neutral toned lovers out there that also love Pat McGrath, may I suggest the Divine Rose 1 palette. So this is a newer one in my collection. I have all of the Mothership palettes except for one, which I believe is the one with like the crown on it that first came out in the Star Wars collection. I forget what it's called. That one doesn't have any special shades, so I was not interested, basically. So this is just a really beautiful, rosy toned, neutral eyeshadow palette. I mean, we have lots of pinks. These Blitz Actual shades are just absolutely stunning. Like, we have a peach to gold, we have a gold, we have like a champagne-y one, then we have like a white to pink, sort of iridescent. These mattes are stunning. You can go really light and beautiful, or you can go a little bit darker for like the fall and winter. I love this palette. I'm obsessed with this palette. I love Pat McGrath's formulas, especially her Blitz Actual shades. This is beautiful for spring and summer just because of those light pinks. Ugh, I love it. It's a little bit of a kiss of color, but if you don't want too much color, this won't give you like too much like ba-bam color, if you know what I mean. And then my last palette is for my people out there that love color. If you love color, you will love this palette. This is the Glam Light Ice Cream Drink. I have it in this big ice cream truck packaging. I will take it out of there. So it looks a lot less intimidating when you have it just in its normal palette packaging. So this came out in 2020, I believe in the fall, which was kind of weird for a pastel palette, but it was delayed because of, you know, the worldwide situation, as Angelica Nikovis would call it, the panini that's happening worldwide. So it was a bit delayed. So I'm excited to break this baby out during the spring and the summer because look at these bright colors. I love these pastels. They are stunning. These are my favorite pastels I have in my collection. I own some pastel mattes from Terra Moons. They're good, they're not this good. I own some pastels from Clarity and their So Mermazing palette, which I've tried once now. Again, the pastel mattes are good, but these are like real good. So again, you know, this is just like the ultimate pastel palette. You have everything you really need in here to like create just a beautiful look. You also have some more like neutrally warm tone shades in here if that's something you're interested in for the spring and summer. I also think this is a great companion palette to the Cake palette from Glamlight, because basically the Cake palette has all the deeper versions of all these shades. So if you're the kind of person that likes to deepen up your looks with a deeper matte, the cake palette plus the ice cream palette. You know, who doesn't love ice cream with cake? That's what I'm saying. So it's a beautiful palette. I love this. I love pastels. I've done a lot of fun looks with this palette, and I'm going to continue to do that during the spring and the summer. So those are my top 10 palettes for spring and summer. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm very passionate about eyeshadow, and as you can see, I really love my indie brands, but I also do love some drugstore with my Colourpop shadows, and I also do love some more high-end and luxury brands like Natasha Nona and McGrath. So I feel like there's a really good mix in here for everybody, whether you love neutrals, whether you love warm tones, whether you love bright colors. There's something in here for everyone, and that's really what I wanted to do with this video. So if you all like this video, please like the video. It helps out with my channel and the algorithm and all that fun stuff. If you like me, please subscribe. I would love to have you all here. I post 3 times a week about beauty. Anyway, I got interrupted by a smoke alarm. So whether that's luxury beauty, drugstore beauty, indie beauty, I love it all. I also love fragrance. Been doing a lot of videos about that recently, if that's something you're interested in, so please subscribe. And also, if you have anything to comment down below, if you want more thoughts on these palettes, if I don't have a video on them, if you all want a video on any of these palettes, if you all own some of these palettes and you want to tell me how much you love them, just let me know down in the comments. And with that, thank you for taking a little part of your day to spend with me, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!